Okay, so in today's video, we will be discussing modeling with cubic functions, specifically without technology. So to do this, you have to be familiar with intercept form for cubic equations. So you can kind of tell that it is already in factored form, and you're going to have three factors in here, but the biggest part of it is finding what A is. Once you find A, everything else is super easy to do. So let me walk you through this example right here. So we've got 3 zeros. So here's 1, 2, 3. So your zeros are going to be -4, +1, and 3. So what I would do is I would immediately label these. Okay, so not only do you need the 3 zeros, you also need your y-intercept. So this is the y-intercept. Now, you've got to be really careful how you label that. So you notice how I have x, f of x. So when I write this out, this is going to be x, and instead of me putting y here, I'm going to use f of x. And the reason why is because that is in your intercept form. Okay, so notice that I wrote it right here one more time. It's the same equation that I have up here. All you have to do is plug in all of this information. So everything should be filled out except for A. And all you have to do is just a little bit of mental math. You can use your calculator, that's fine. But you're going to have 4 times -1 times -3, which is equal to 12. And then you just have to divide both sides by 12. Simplify it. It's better for you just to leave it a fraction. Once you know what A is, you're going to go back and you're going to substitute all of your zeros back into the function, and they're going to look like factors. So if you have a function that is, if you have a factor that's -4, your factor is going to be x plus 4. Same thing with a 3, x minus 3. If you have a 0 that's 1, it'll be x minus 1. But you have to include your value of A, and that's your final form. Okay, so let's take a look at this example. So the first thing I want to do is kind of write out all of my zeros. And my zeros are -3, +1, and 2. All of those are zeros. So I can say that P is -3, Q is 1, and R is 2. And then my y-intercept is right here. And instead of saying this is x and this is y, I'm going to say this is x and 3 is f of x. So I'm going to write my intercept form here. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to substitute every single thing right here except for A. And if you don't have everything filled out except for A, then you're missing some information. So f of x, that is equal to 3. I don't know A. X is going to be 0. So I'm going to use 0 3 times. And then I'm going to subtract each one of my x-intercepts over here. So minus -3, -1, and -2. So all I need to do is just simplify these 3. So it'll be 3, -1, and -2. Multiply those together. You wind up with 6. And then to get A, divide both sides by 6, you wind up with 1/2. All right, almost done. So all you have to do now is go back and look at this form you started with, substitute everything except for f of x and x. So your final answer, let me change colors here. That's going to be f of x is equal to A is 1/2. And it'll be x minus -3. Now you need to change that to plus +3. So I would write that as x plus 3. And then x minus 1. And then x minus 2. So you see how I left it f of x and x That's your final form. All right, so I've got one more example for you. I'm going to try to color code this one a little bit better, just in case you didn't get it in the first one. So we don't have a graph. You just have to realize that you've got 3 that are zeros and 1 that's a y-intercept. This one I know is going to be the y-intercept because it's x is 0 and y would be 10. But I'm going to make that x and f of x. Okay, so x is equal to 0, f of x is equal to 10. That is my y-intercept. All of these other ones are going to be zeros. So p is equal to -4, q equals 2, and r is equal to 5. We're going to start out by writing our generic intercept form. And now I'm going to color code for you. So f of x is 10, x is 0, and then p is -4, q is 2, and I need another color. Let's do orange. And then 5 is r. Okay, substitute time. So 10, I don't know a, and then x is 0. So all of these x's are going to be 0. Okay, p is -4, q is 2, and r is 5. So I'm going to do a little bit of simplification. So that's going to be 4. That's -2, and this is -5. And then we need to go ahead and multiply these 3 numbers together. And that's going to give us 40. Divide both sides by 40. And then a is going to be 1/4. Simplify that. Okay, so almost done. So if you want to just kind of write your final answer on top of this, it might help you. So my final answer, you're going to still have f of x and x, but everything else should be replaced. So a is 1/4. Leave the x alone, and then just go ahead and substitute these back into it. So it'll be x plus 4, and then x minus 2, and then x minus 5. That is our final answer.